Siege is in a bit of an identity crisis at the moment. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think it's quite important. I think a lot of people are confused as to which direction this game wants to take itself. But I very much think it's the esports scene. Personally, I think that's brilliant. I love Siege esports. I think it's massively underrated, and it's always great fun to watch. Invitational may not have had an audience this year, but my god, was it still super exciting. Why do I think that Siege is going in an esports direction? The writing. Terrorist hunt became training grounds. Rather than being pushed as a counter-terrorism unit, Rainbow is now competing in these ultra-realistic milsim sporting events. Some people on Reddit have called this out as being censorship for China, and while I think that may be true, I don't think it's anything that sinister. Valorant has skull icons, and that has literally been built for esports. More on that later. I think it's actually because corporate organisations will be more happy to sponsor a game about military simulation sporting events than a gritty, realistic shooter about a counter-terrorist organisation taking down the White Masks, who carried out a bioweapon attack on a university. The best example of an esport that struggles with funding is CSGO. They have the exact same problem as Siege.
Everyone's interested by the stats that CS brings, like the actual the competition side of everything, but as soon as they hear terrorists against anti-terrorists, that's it. Not going anywhere near it.
Counter-Strike is challenging to sell to sponsors. It is a first-person shooter, and it's a very explicit one with the terrorism angle to it. I hate that that's the case. It's a wonderful game. I love watching it, but it's the facts of building sustainable business, right? It's much easier to build a sustainable business around a game like Overwatch or League of Legends or Smite or Rocket League. Let's go with the most extreme example, right? Than a game where it is about blowing something up.
Big corporations don't want to be seen sponsoring a game that may look to an outsider to be glorifying terrorism, which of course is not the case at all. Just look at G2's League of Legends voice-con video. Now look at a CSGO voice-cons video. Notice the distinct lack of a BMW logo. Do I think this is worth sacrificing the lore that the Rainbow Six series is based on? Hell no. I'm actually gutted as I really enjoyed reading the lore of some of the operators, and I do sometimes watch NGN's videos on the lore of the game. I love the fact that some of the original maps were based off real sieges, such as Oregon, as it really added another dimension to the game. It would suck to think that the game's whole lore needs to be changed because someone's PR department deemed it too violent. But there was something that happened to CSGO, wasn't there? Valorant has exploded onto the scene. Received criticism for its invasive anti-cheat and similar gun mechanics to CSGO, but overall has picked up a massive amount of momentum, and had just over 1 million viewers watching the finals of the Valorant Masters. G2 have a BMW logo on their shirt, and just look at the art style, the names and look at the weapons, the death animations. Everything is very playful, colourful, and unrealistic. So what does this mean for Siege? Well, I propose that it's time for a Siege 2. People have covered this before, but not from the position of esports. I may be wrong on that. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six franchise is about tactics, some slightly warped for gameplay purposes realism, and has a good relationship with the book. I think that this should definitely be first and foremost for Siege, as it's part of that franchise. So, if that's going to hurt the esports side of the game, can we make a completely separate game out of it? A game with a destructive environment, with maps that can be less cluttered and built with a competitive integrity first policy, and not tied down by the Rainbow Six lore. It'll also allow for a better sound engine, lighting system, and less bugs. One of the big reasons for the amount of bugs in Siege is because it was built as a test on a game engine designed for single-player games. Some other games built on this engine were For Honor and Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It was never supposed to be used mainly for multiplayer. The way the game has been built has also meant the basic quality of life changes can't be implemented. A big one is streamer mode. Streamers can't play ranked on stream without a large delay and only rely on alt or barcode accounts. This is to avoid getting stream sniped. It's gotten so bad that streamers with even small viewership are getting sniped. Streamer mode is proving incredibly tough to implement, apparently. This is evident with the TTS streamer mode, which you could only change your name client-side rather than for the whole game. Why is this such a big issue? The majority of the player base aren't streamers. Well, streamers can bring new players in. If you're watching someone having a lot of fun on rank with friends and playing the game, what do you think? I would say the game looks fun and might consider getting it. If you see a minority of streamers playing the game, and the ones that are getting stream sniped and having a miserable time, what do you think then? I'd stay well clear. If I watch Pengu having a great game of Siege and really enjoying it, it makes me want to play Siege. If I see Pengu complaining about not being able to see what he's shooting because of North Star skins, then that kind of puts a downer on the whole game. Happy creators make better content, which brings more people to the game. If an outdated game engine is making this a problem, then I think a new game is completely justified. This wouldn't mean ditching the 100 operators pledge, far from it. Just creating an esports tailored game would be awesome, all the while keeping the game updated and getting to that 100 operators mark. Maybe take it back to its roots. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe if you did, and I'll see you in the next one. I was writing this over the weekend, and Get Flanked actually posted a video called I'm Finally Admitting We Need a Rainbow Six Siege 2. It's a really interesting video that will be linked down in the description. I'd recommend watching it if you haven't seen it already.